If you are feeling discouraged and don't know why, but you want to stop feeling discouraged, this live stream is going to be for you. My name is Gabriel Serra, and today is the 14th of December 2025 at 4:32 a.m. Central European Time here in Austria. So we're going to start immediately tapping, and we're going to focus on that feeling of discouragement. Discouragement is connected to uncertainty. And uncertainty, from my experiences, my life experiences, has shown me that the reason why I am discouraged is only because A, I haven't done the thing, I haven't gotten to the result. B, I am in the process of doing things, doing the thing, and I'm not seeing the tangible results that I'm looking for just yet. So that causes that discouragement. So, for example, let's say you're building a business, and in the process of building a business, what you're finding is you put in all this energy, you put in all this momentum, all this momentum, all this momentum, and then what do you find? You find crickets. You find that you're not getting any of the results that you're expecting. And you're anticipating, hey, by month one, this business should be doing this, 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 this. By month two, this business should be doing this, that, this, that. But then when month one rolls around, okay, that didn't happen. Then month two rolls around, okay, that didn't happen. Then month three, month four, maybe by month six, the goals that you had set or the things that you thought would happen at month one finally start to maybe happen 50%. And that can get discouraging. It can get discouraging when there is a slow start. And it can get very discouraging when you are attaching yourself to an outcome. So we're going to work with that today. And we're going to work with that feeling of discouragement. And that feeling of discouragement is, again, as I mentioned before, tied to uncertainty. We have that uncertainty within us that, is this ever going to work out? The discouragement leads to the uncertainty. The discouragement thinks, the discouraging part of us. So imagine our voice, our inner voice, the voices in our head. I'm sure you hear that too. Imagine for a moment that discouraging voice says, oh man, I should have been here by now. Why am I not here by now? Do I suck or whatever? That discouragement leads to that uncertainty. And that uncertainty leads to you not believing that the thing that you want, the result that you want to have, is not possible. And that traps you. That creates a huge trap because, from what I've observed in this world, and also connected to David Guillaume, who is a Kabbalist, and he also is an entrepreneur and founder, co-founder, I think, of Mary Ruth's supplement company. He mentioned something on this a couple of times in several of his courses that I've taken now. I've taken two of them. And he talks about the need for certainty, and that the need for certainty is based on certainty is like the light switch. It turns on the light. It gets the universal intelligence, it gets God, it gets your inner divine to move its ass. It gets your inner intelligence to move its ass. Oh, this is not the right microphone setting. No, motherfucker. That's not the mic I want. Mic. Yes, can I get that mic? Oh, where is this? Nope. No, oh, motherfucker. Ay, ay, ay. How do I know? How do I know now? Ah, shit. Ah. Come on, Gabriel. Why are you doing this now? we here? Okay, I think we're here. All right, let's delete this now. This should be the new audio, right? And this should be the DJI Mic 3. Oh, I'm so fancy. I'm so special now. I got this DJI Mic 3 and I want to use it. Ugh. DJI Mic 3? Oh yeah, I mean, I'm fucking paid all the money for it. Might as well figure it out. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, now I got those little annoying ass bars constantly. But maybe that adds the ASMR effect. Maybe people like the ASMR effect. Who knows? Who knows? Oh no. Well, at least it's picking it up though. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's take it down here. So getting back to what I was saying, David Guillaume, he talks about the need for certainty. You need to have certainty. Certainty is like the light switch that turns on the light, okay? It is what gets God to say, okay, this person has certainty. This soul has certainty. This vessel has certainty. The vessel meaning the body has certainty. The ego, the consciousness that's in that physical container has the certainty. And because they have the certainty, we're going to attract and make sure that that manifestation, that individual wants is going towards them. And that certainty is the end result of that manifestation, right? So it's once you have that certainty, you're bound to manifest that thing. That's the idea. That's the concept. But applying that here now, applying that to us now in our situation, if we are feeling discouraged, we're going to already be killing that certainty. That discouragement is already going to kill that feeling of I'm not worthy enough, I'm not good enough. And that discouragement is tied to having probably beliefs of maybe I'm not worthy, maybe I'm not good enough, I have to try harder, I have to do something more, and that is going to create this negative consequence for you. So you're going to be trying much harder. You're going to be feeling doubt. You're going to be feeling disappointed, discouraged, not enough. And that energy is already going to be repelling the thing that you want. That energy is already going to be repelling your ability to manifest that business success or that result or that outcome that you have been seeking. And what I have found is that the answer is not in working hard. You only have 24 hours in a day. I think that is a lot of bullshit. And I think that in this AI era, I think that creativity is going to be the most important thing. And living your life and doing your work from a peak state, okay? Peak performance, I think, is going to be the number one thing, because your limitation is not how hard you can work. Your limitation is speed and execution. We can come up with a lot of ideas. I've come up with so many ideas. That doesn't mean anything. You know what means something? What means something is, can I take this idea? Can I take an idea for something like this that's in my head and actually make it real? Can I do that? That requires speed in this era. That speed is it's like a lethal weapon for you. And if you don't have that speed of implementation, no idea is going to cut it. You need to be able to implement quickly and with a great amount of efficiency. So let's work on this feeling of discouragement. What we're going to do is we're just going to put a movie on the wall, okay? So just imagine that you have a huge, massive projector and you can see any movie of your life, all right? Put a movie that reminded you of your earliest memory of that feeling of discouragement. Okay, so if you clicked on this title, it's for a reason. It's not just, oh, I want to fucking watch this guy at 4:00 in the morning do some bullshit and talk. No, you want to know how to release this feeling of feeling discouraged, right? Okay, so imagine there's a projector. Tap with your hands on your collarbone. We're going to start from here. I want you to have that movie of the first memory when you felt discouraged. Obviously, since I don't know you, I'm going to be doing this for myself. And you just reuse whatever words work for you. And you use your own words for whenever it works for you. That's simple, right? So we have our movie on the projector. Okay? This movie, for me, of feeling discouraged. Okay, subconscious mind, help me out here. When was the first time that I felt discouraged? I would say that aside from this time, no, I'm not feeling discouraged. No, something else. I think for me, the first time that I felt discouraged was, and it's usually related to childhood. It has to be when I was a kid, and possibly when I wanted something. Oh. Okay, now the memory is coming up. Okay. I was a personal trainer in my early 20s up until 28. And I had gone through the process of taking all of those tests and doing all of that stuff. And there was a job with Nike to be like a Nike trainer or something like this. And I had found the job on Craigslist. And I went into audition. It was with a celebrity personal trainer at the time. I have no idea who they were or what their name was or whatever, but they looked like they had the presence and the aura of someone that would be a celebrity trainer with that high level energy. And I don't have that high level energy. I'm not that high level at, whatever hour in the morning. Maybe I do. Maybe that's just a story I'm telling myself. Either which way, I gotta make sure my fuzzy on my thing is good to go, because I gotta seem important. Here. So I remember I went into this audition, and I remember the interview was going okay until I said something like, I don't know why the fuck would I say this? I said something like, I like to make people have good workouts so that they push themselves and then they throw up, or something like this. I don't know. But they interpreted it as like, I don't know. They looked at me like I had two heads, and they asked me, okay, where did you get this? Where did you find this interview? I said, Craigslist. And they like kind of froze. The room froze. And then they were like, okay, thank you for coming in. And then that was it. And I was feeling discouraged at the time because I wanted to build up some sort of a reputation. That was like a thing for me. And I was feeling discouraged about that. So this is the movie, okay? Maybe as I tap on it, I start feeling more of those things, and I start to recall some of these things. And let's actually put out the definition of discouragement so that we really truly can understand this for ourselves. And as we continue to tap, maybe new memories will come up, and those new memories will have clues for us as to what direction we need to go in. Let's see. Discouragement. Definition. Let's see. Feelings, no. How kind of definition is that? All right, let's go. Cambridge Dictionary. The state of having lost your confidence or enthusiasm for something. The state of having lost your confidence or enthusiasm for something. Yeah, we're all speaking the same language, I think, at the end of the day. It's that feeling of, I don't know if I can do this thing. I don't believe in myself enough. And I think the number one thing that I've learned is that you do have to believe in yourself, and you have to persist. Even when it doesn't seem like it's going there, you still have to persist and believe in yourself and double down on that. However, there is always a reason, and it's not just work harder. That's not the reason. Working hard, I don't think has anything to do with it. It has maybe a small percentage to do with it. And I think the main thing that really is the deciding factor is your energy. It's your emotions. It's how you think, how you process things, how you perceive the world, and what action you take from that state of consciousness. And Warren Buffett talks about this as well. He says something like, when he invests into companies, I remember reading this somewhere. He said that when he invests into companies, he looks at the psychology of the leader. He pays attention to the psychology of the leader. Now, why do you think he does that? Because it is the psychology of the leader that determines where that company is going. If a leader of a company, a CEO of a company says, we're going to stay small, we're going to do this, or we're going to drive massive growth, we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to do this, those are probably going to be clues for him, or however his success criteria or his criteria definition for what companies he invests in, that's going to be a deciding factor as to what he puts his money into. So, our psychological state, our state of consciousness, our emotions, that feeling of discouragement, those are the things that we need to address. We need to release the emotional triggers that cause that feeling of discouragement. We need to look at our movies, our internal memories, and the feelings attached and what that meant to us at that time. So I've got my movie over here about this time period, getting rejected or not hearing back from the Nike thing. Didn't get openly rejected like right there. I just never heard back from them, because that's what companies do. And I would say the name of this movie, right? So let's put a title on this movie. Nike and my vomit comment. That's going to be the name of my movie. Nike and my vomit comment. And you want to see this movie from a dissociated place, detached. You want to look at this person as if they were a brand new person. They're not you. You're just looking at this person. And now we're going to rate the intensity of this movie, okay? So we're going to do self-muscle testing on ourselves. This is how I do it. I do it one of two ways, either with both hands or I do it with just one hand, and I basically just cross over my fingers. And if this is true, I'm going to get my fingers to stay like this. If this is false, my finger will bend downwards. If I say yes, my finger should stay the same. If I say no, my finger will bend downwards again, okay? And I want to basically do a quick initial test just to make sure that I'm ready and I'm calibrated, because sometimes you can say something and then it not be true, and you just don't want to fuck yourself with that, okay? So let's do this here. Hand up. Show me yes. Show me no. show me true, show me false. My name is Gabriel. My name is Hema. My name is Mama. My name is Soraya. My name is Gabriel. I feel discouraged. This feeling of discouragement while I watch this movie, Nike and the Vomit comment, has an emotional charge. On a scale of 0 to 10, it has an emotional charge of 5 or higher. Okay, so it does not have an emotional charge of 5 or higher. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, this movie, Nike and the Vomit comment, has an emotional charge of 5 or less. It has an emotional charge of 4. It has an emotional charge of 3. Okay, so we're at a 3. All right. So it's very likely that this is not necessarily a core memory. I use the analogy of an octopus. And if you think about that octopus with the octopus head and its tentacles, the tentacles would be like later on memories that have very little charge to them or emotional tightness to them. And a core memory would be a memory that you constantly revisit throughout your life. So for me, for example, there was a time in my life when I was like 12 years old. I was homeless from 12 to 17, and there was a lot of trauma work that I was doing for the last 7-8 years of my life based on that. I tried to put that behind me until I realized I can't. It stuck with me. There's a lot of trapped emotions, and I have to release those trapped emotions in order to free myself from the past, make better decisions in the here and now, create a better future for myself and for now my family. So this discouragement right now, we rated it as a 3 charge, okay? So on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the most intense, it has a charge of 3, which is really easy to work with, okay? We're gonna take this down in a few rounds. So put your movie on the projector, name your movie, figure out how intense is that emotional charge, and let's begin, okay? We're just gonna do a couple of quick rounds, and we're gonna see how that feels, and then we're gonna go from there, all right? Starting with the karate chop point, and we've got all the points listed in the description box. Let's take a deep breath. There's little memories coming up now. Even though I feel discouraged, I choose to acknowledge this feeling and let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge this part of me and choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to acknowledge this part of me and let this go from my nervous system now. We're gonna do one full round, same thing, just repeating the same thing, okay? Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I choose to let this go from my nervous system now. By the way, when you see me yawning or crying or whatever, burping, these are all signs that it's releasing. So if you find yourself burping, farting, releasing, crying, whatever, it's just releasing. That's it. Okay? So a lot of yawns, pretty good. Very good. Even though I have even though there's this part of me that feels discouraged, I acknowledge that this is temporary. Even though I feel discouraged, I acknowledge this part with love and let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I feel discouraged, I acknowledge this part and how it feels, and I let this go from my subconscious mind and my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge how I feel, and I let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge how I feel and I let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge how I feel and I let this go from my nervous system now. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge how I feel and I let this go from my nervous system now. One more. Even though I have been feeling discouraged, I acknowledge how I feel and I let this go from my nervous system now. Okay, I muscle test usually from one hand, and that is my left hand. So I'm switching hands, making sure that I stay tapping on the right hand, top of my head. Okay, this will be like the starting point for me. And we're gonna muscle test one more time, go through the whole process, make sure we're calibrated, and we're gonna rate the intensity of that movie that made us feel discouraged. Okay, so if I had that movie on a projector and I'm looking at it, I'm visualizing it, I'm looking at the intensity of that movie. Okay, now let's muscle test. Show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. My name is Gabriel, my name is Hema, my name is Soraya, my name is Mama, my name is Gabriel. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, this feeling of discouragement has an emotional charge of 3. Good, we're already down. This feeling of discouragement has an emotional charge of 2. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the emotional charge of discouragement from this movie, Nike and my vomit comment, has an emotional charge of 3. It has an emotional charge of 2. It has an emotional charge of 1. Okay, great. We're out of 1. Super simple. And now I hear the inner voice saying, but that's not it. Meaning that that's not the main thing. That's not the big thing. That's not the core thing. We got to get to the core thing. Okay? Will we get to the core thing in this session, in one session? I don't know. But we have to keep tapping. Maybe other things come up. So in this round, now that we've done the first initial round, we know that, okay, we can go from a 3 to a 1. Pretty simple. So we'll drop the intensity of the feeling of discouragement by at least 2 points within one round. And you saw how quick that went. Now let's really focus. And this round I call the freestyle round, or sometimes I call it the vomit round, but let's just call it from now on the freestyle round. And the freestyle round is very simply just you recalling the memory and you walking through exactly what's happening in that memory as you tap, okay? So I will do mine, you can do yours, and if you need a reference, just watch this, play it back, no problem. So from what I remember from this movie, I see this guy. Remember, you don't want to attach yourself as that person. So you don't want to say I, right? You want to put that as far away as possible. Put it as far away as possible. Don't make it about you. That's something that happened in your past. It's no longer existing. You're just now watching it as a movie, as a character. The character may look like you, but you're just watching the movie at this stage. So I see this guy. He's going to audition for a Nike personal trainer role. And he has this boot camp business. He started up this boot camp business in Washington Heights. And he is looking anxious. He's sitting in this hallway on like this, there's like a whole bunch of chairs to the side of the walls. I don't know where the building is, but it's somewhere in Manhattan. And he's waiting. He's waiting to audition. He's probably waiting maybe like an hour or something like this to audition. And he's like nervous. He looks nervous. He looks really nervous and anxious, and he's like shaking his feet. Maybe he's pretending. Maybe he's like being really dramatic about it. But there he is. And he is wanting this outcome. He's wanting it so much. He's wanting to have a job as a personal trainer with Nike because it would be a brand name on his resume, or it would be something that makes him stand out that he could use for marketing for his rugged strength business that he had at the time, which was really just him being a freelancer, solopreneur, whatever you want to call it. It all means the same thing. So there he is. Sitting in that hallway. He finally gets his name called. And now he has to go into action. He has to go into this performance mode. And I see this guy going into this performance mode. He's wearing the mask. He's thinking, okay, this is what these people want to hear. This is what they want to say. This is what they want him to say. And he already is very familiar with how that whole networking, trying to get a job thing works. You put on your best face. You pretend. You say the things that they want you to say, that you know that they want to hear you say, right? So if they ask you, are you willing to stay extra hours? Then you got to say yes. Even if it's a no, but if you need the job, you say, yes, I'm going to stay extra hours. I'll stay extra hours. If it's, do you have a problem with getting coffee and things like this? Even if you have a problem with getting coffee and things like this, you say, right? Because then if you say no, then they get irritated because you're not compliant. You're not cooperative. You're not cooperating with how they want you to be. So even if you show up and you have this bullet point list of responsibilities that you read in the job description, and then you go in there and they say, okay, well, we need you to do this. Can you do this? Can you do that? And it's all verbal. And if you say no, right, or if you say, hey, this is not what we said, you said on the responsibility thing, you probably won't get the job. So I see that he knows this. And I see that he knows that, okay, if I really want to get this thing, if I really want to get this job, what am I going to have to do? And this is what he's thinking. He's thinking, if I want this job, I'm going to have to put on this mask. So that's what he does. He puts on the mask. Hello. Up here. AI tracker. Yo, I'm up here. He puts on his mask. He goes into audition. The interview seems to be going well. You know, he's got his haircut. He looks fit. He looks in shape. He's got his personal training clothes on with his shorts and his hoodie, and he looks pretty good. But he's wearing Adidas. He's wearing an Adidas track jacket when he should be wearing Nike, because it's Nike, and you should be wearing Nike to a Nike interview. So that's already probably going against him. And he's getting looked at by like maybe 4 or 5 people. They're like looking at him and fine picking him and looking for reasons to not hire him. But it seems like it's going okay. And he explains, hey, I have this certification, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have bachelor's degree, da-da-da. And they're like, oh, okay. And it's like, the vibe is looking like, okay, this guy could be a candidate here. And then there's a comment that he made. And the comment that he made was something about he likes to make people throw up. And the reason why he said this, I think the reason why he said this is because he's thinking, okay, it's Nike. It's about being tough and, you know, making people push themselves to the edge or something like this. And again, this is to be a Nike trainer. This is around the time when that Nike Fit Band was out. And yeah, they did not do good with that one. So they heard this. There was a female trainer. I think she was the lead trainer. And she was the one that was really doing like the interviews and conducting the interviews to find maybe like an assistant or a partner or something. And he said this, and obviously because this guy is so serious, like everyone takes him so seriously, or like at least everything gets serious in the room whenever he's around, you know? There's no like laughing or whatever. That's usually reserved for when people actually know him. But on this first impression, like, doesn't come off as a comedian. So what happens? What happens is it was kind of like this awkward moment where it's like, you just blew your shot. You just blew your shot by what you just said. What the fuck did you just say, right? So immediately from right there, he was canceled, basically. Like, that's it. Done. And okay, there's something deeper coming behind that. We're going to go there. And so there was something deeper with that. And he was feeling, he already knew that that comment already fucked him up and he would not get that interview. He already knew that. He already knew it was done for him. So now he's stuck. gets awkward. And then he gets asked by, I think, the lead trainer, where did you find this interview? How did you come to this interview place? And then he said Craigslist. And then shortly thereafter, the interview was over, the audition was over. He never heard back. And what I gather, looking back at that memory, was the discouragement feeling was primarily related to this feeling of, fuck, I messed it up. Oh, there we go. Bingo. And now I'm remembering the next thing. And that's the deeper thing. And you see, that's why we have to start tapping. And we somehow just go on this journey where the subconscious mind is going to reveal itself. The subconscious mind is going to reveal itself. But before we go to that thing, that memory now, that's the core memory. That's a big memory. Before we go to that memory now, let's EFT, let's muscle test on that one. So show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. My name is Gabriel. My name is Hema. My name is Mama. My name is Soraya. My name is Gabriel. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the emotional charge of discouragement from the movie Nike and My Vomit comment has an emotional charge of 3. It has an emotional charge of 2. It has an emotional charge of 1. It has an emotional charge of 0. Good. Okay, so now the next thing that's coming up. And now this time I'm going to really attach to it, and I'm going to just speak what happened, because this is the thing. With EFT, I realized that the whole concept is emotional freedom, right? It's emotional freedom technique. That's the idea behind it. So you want emotional freedom from the thing that is causing you the anxiety, the fear, the panic, the terror, etc. Those are the emotions that you want to neutralize. And this is, for me, the simplest way to do it. It's so incredibly simple. So we have to clear this emotional charge, because from this emotional charge, we stop taking actions that are based on that emotional charge. So if we're feeling discouraged, we're taking action from a very discouraged place. We don't want to do that. This next memory that's coming up of being discouraged happened when I was in college. I was at university, and I remember, I think it was like my junior or senior year. I was dating this girl at the time, and she was a Lakers fan. And in this memory that I have, again, I'm going to put the memory up on that projector. Okay. I'm going to call this movie Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojciech, I think, if I remember that one. Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojciech. The emotional intensity, show me yes, show me no, show me true, show me false. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, the emotional charge of the movie Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojciech and that internship interview has an emotional charge of 5 or higher. Yep, there we go. It has an emotional charge of 5. It has an emotional charge of 6. It has an emotional charge of 7. Bingo. That's the work today. So we have to take this movie and reduce the intensity from a 7 as far down as we can, because that was really discouraging. Yes, I remember this. Okay, so this was, oh my God. This had to have been between 2008 and 2010. And maybe 2009 and 2010, somewhere in that time period. And I was studying sport management at Syracuse University in the state of New York. And this was supposed to be like a top school for that fucking profession, for that career title, whatever the fuck. So I'm in this program and I'm like thinking, okay, maybe this can help me become like the GM of the New York Yankees or something like this. And I played baseball, but mind you, I'm not like a baseball freak or I'm not a baseball fanatic. That's just not my thing. Baseball is, as kids would say at that time period, hella boring. It's not for me. So I remember this time of my life where I wanted to be the GM of the New York Yankees, the general manager of the New York Yankees. The only reason why is because my friend at the time, he was like a Yankees fan and he was also interested in sport management. So I followed along. I was like, I felt very clueless. I felt like, man, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm just going to try to follow what this guy is doing. No clue about purpose, no clue about, well, what's for me or whatever. How am I going to, And I'm thinking, okay, maybe this will help me make money because the Yankees, they are like, they pay so much money for their athletes. Maybe they're going to pay money for me, right? No. That's funny. It's so funny and so innocent and naive at the same time. But here we are. So my, I guess, ambition at that time was to be the general manager of the New York Yankees. That wasn't a dream of mine. That's not something I said. When I grow up, I want to be the general manager of the New York Yankees. No, that's not it. I was more like, okay, how can I become rich in this world? And okay, let me do something that I at least enjoy or think I enjoy, and that would be to be around sports. Okay, so I was studying sport management in Syracuse University, and I was on my own with getting internships and jobs. I was on my own. And that was discouraging already. The program that I was in, like, they wanted you to do all this extracurricular stuff and not even get paid for the fucking thing. And like, look, I don't know what the fuck era I came from, but I look at this now and I'm like, how was this even legally possible that you have the audacity to actually get away with it, to not pay people, college students, whatever? It doesn't fucking matter. Everyone still has to pay for shit. How would you have the audacity to fucking pay internships nothing and say you need to get the experience, when there was a time period where people were graduating with bachelor's degrees and making $100,000 a year? There was that error. A bachelor's degree pre-2007 meant something. It meant something. And it meant you have at least a starting job, a starting salary as soon as you get out of like at least $80,000 a year. At least $80,000 a year. But then that quickly changed. And now a bachelor's degree means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. It is useless. And I think college is only useful if, let's say, you need to do law or if you need to do medical or some bullshit like that. And I call that bullshit because there's a lot of hoops that you have to go through, number one. And number two is, I call it bullshit because these professionals, these professions, they all back and support a system that is very likely based on control. I have my own reasons for saying that. Don't judge me. Don't judge a book by its cover. Moving on, though, I had this internship interview lined up with a company called ESPN. Or, oops, I shouldn't have said that, maybe. I don't know. Whatever. But either which way, I had this interview lined up. I somehow got it on my own because I wasn't going to get help or support from this sport management department. The guy that started the thing, the department or the program at Syracuse University, was fucking saying, I don't remember his name, but I'm not going to say his name. I remember his name though. And he was saying to us as students, like, you gotta, if you want to drink from the fucking Kool-Aid, what the fuck does that even mean? If you want to drink from the Kool-Aid, what do you have to do? You have to do these things that I'm telling you to do to build up this experience so that way we can get you networked or whatever. And it just felt like it was a lot of ass kissing, a lot of brown nosing, which means putting your nose in someone's asshole and kissing ass and being fake. And I had somehow figured out how to do this on my own. And I got an interview with this company on my own. And then I had this phone interview with this company. And I remember I was with that ex-girlfriend. We were sitting in a lunch hall and we were eating. And that's when I had the interview. That's when they called me. And they asked me, hey, are you ready for the questions? I said, okay, yeah, fine. They started asking me questions that I had no idea about. And I remember freezing. I remember not having a response. I didn't have a response for a lot of their questions or the interviewers' questions. And I remember they asked me one specific question about the Lakers. And I remember that ex-girlfriend saying the name of a Laker at the time, I think Sasha Voyachek or something, could because she was a Lakers fan. And that's why I said that as the response. And then I heard a freeze from the interviewer. And the interviewer said, I need to stop the interview. Hold on. And so there was silence. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel that in my heart. I can feel also that sadness too, and that disappointment, and that discouragement. I can feel that right now coming up. And I remember, okay, I'm closing my eyes now to really feel this. So there I am. I'm on the phone, on this interview. Okay, I can feel my heart. It's aching right now. And I'm there. It's silent. The interviewer says, hold on, I need to check something or whatever. They freeze the call. And it's just silent for a few seconds. And then they came back and then they said, we're going to have to end this interview. I forget exactly what they said, but then they said this one comment. And it really irritates me about some people is their fucking comments. And they say these fucking comments because they want to get under your skin, I think. Or they want to speak whatever their fucking fake ass truth is or whatever. And they think that because they work in that thing or because they have some fucking fake status that they can just say whatever the fuck they want to say. Well, guess what? I can say whatever the fuck I want to say too. I can say whatever the flying motherfuck I want to say too. And this person said, I'm not going to say bitch. I'm not going to say bitch, even though there is that part of me that wants to say bitch and call that person a bitch because of the way they made that comment. But this interviewer said something like, next time don't have someone interviewing for you, or next time, like, if you don't know the end, like, they basically acknowledged that there was that my girlfriend was there and she had answered that thing, and then I had repeated that answer. So I was caught off guard about all these questions. I don't fucking know. I'm not studying sports like this. I have never been on an interview where I get asked these questions that are so trivial that I'm expected to know this shit. And this is for an internship. You're asking me questions like I'm a fucking, like I fucking live with the team or something like this. That's the kind of questions you're asking me. You're asking me questions like I fucking, number one, live with the team. I live with all of these teams and I'm constantly watching sports. Do you really fucking think that I have the time to watch all these fucking sports? That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. So I remember at that time I froze. I had no idea about the answers, and the interview was already going pretty horribly after like 2 or 3 questions. And then this girlfriend, she blurted out this answer, and then in the freezer I just repeated the answer, and then it was just downhill from there. But I bring this up because I remember the memory of that experience, and it felt very discouraging. It felt very discouraging to graduate university at that time and not have a job lined up. I saw some of my frat brothers, they were getting jobs at like a JP Morgan and other banking institutions. And I felt like a loser. I'll just be honest. I felt like a real loser. And this was around the time that YouTube had come out. This is around the time where YouTube was maybe like 3 years old or 4 years old. I think YouTube came out around 2006 or 7 or something like this. And man, I fucked up. There was this whole opportunity starting up right before me, and I fucking didn't take action. And I was thinking about having a YouTube channel. And there was like 3 or 4 times in the last 15 years since that interview experience where I thought about having a YouTube channel, doing a podcast, building a brand, something like this. And I would do it, but then I would get discouraged. And I remember all those moments where I would feel discouraged. I remember those moments where I felt like, fuck, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what the fuck do I do? And because it was such a mystery to me at times with YouTube, I felt like, oh shit, how do I grow this thing? Out of all the social medias, out of all anything that you could possibly do, it was always YouTube that was the thing that I was attracted to. I don't know why, except that YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. And it functions like a search engine. So if you want to post a video, you can get found for discoverability pretty easily. So that was the thing that attracted me, I think, to YouTube versus, let's say, an Instagram or a Facebook or a Twitter. I thought Twitter was really stupid. But I knew that people were somehow able to find jobs on Twitter. And I remember the thing that made Twitter interesting was hearing this or reading the story in a blog post about this person that lost their job, and they tweeted about it, and then literally someone said, oh, you need a job? And then they
they were lined up with a job because they were on Twitter, right? Because they were actively using Twitter and they actively had a following. I remember that. So I remember that around that time, that's when like social media started to get more attention and people started to be like, oh, this social media thing. Could I use this for jobs? Could I use this for this? Could I use this for that? And now it's evolved into what it is today, where people are building $1 million, multi-million-dollar brands on these platforms. Obviously, that's a big mistake. You don't want to just be on the other people's platform. You're basically renting. You're renting land. You want to move them to your thing, which is your email list. So I know that. And either which way, I had this idea. I had this desire to do YouTube. I had this desire to not work a job. My own intention for working a job was I want to make some money so that I can save up that money and build up a business. Because I knew from years ago being homeless and seeing my biological mother lose her job, get fired from her job, was that, hey, look, jobs, there's no such thing as job security. That is a fucking idea. Maybe that existed in like the 1940s or the 1950s or whatever, you know, that industrial revolution time period, but not today. Not today. And there is no thing as there's no such thing as job loyalty. You really do, I think, have to focus on building a brand and being able to basically be disciplined enough to do this on your own. And it can be discouraging because I am here in the mountain. I'm located on a mountain somewhere here in Austria, right? I'm here. I don't fucking know any entrepreneurs around here. I don't know. My German sucks, and I'm in a German speaking country. So what am I gonna do? And I realized that actually, yeah, in my 20s, there was a lot of discouraging moments. There's a lot of discouraging moments now that I think about that. So Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojcik, oh man, I remember that. It was very discouraging. And I remember right after that, I was like crying after the interview because I fucked up. And I felt crushed. I was looking forward to that. Like I somehow worked hard enough to get that interview. And from what I understand is like when you get interviewed for a job, it's because they're interested. So all you have to do is just not fuck it up. And I fucked it up. How do I unfuck myself from that? I don't know. And yeah, it was discouraging. It was discouraging. And I felt not good. I felt not good about a lot of things. But here I am. At this stage of my life. And this discouraging feeling. This part of me that feels discouraged. I choose to acknowledge this part of me. I choose to bring out this discouraging part of me now. And I'm going to listen to what this discouraging part has to say. Okay? So now we're going to have this discouraging part out. And we're going to listen to what this discouraging part has to say. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to get myself into the frame of this discouraging part. And I'm just going to really speak. Yeah, it was very discouraging. Not knowing someone else that wanted to do the thing that I was doing. It's not like I could talk to my relatives about what I was going through. It's not like I could talk to my friends about what I was going through. I felt really alone. Who was I going to talk to about these things? And I was put in these situations where I was me on my own. It was just me. And yeah, like it felt like I had to sink or swim. It felt like I had to sink or swim. And that was scary sometimes. What am I going to do? How am I going to make it? What if it doesn't work out? What if I'm stuck? What if I'm stuck like this? What if I'll never make it out? What if I'll always be this loser? I don't want this anymore. I don't want to live this life anymore. I don't want to be this person anymore. It's discouraging. Like I have all these dreams. I have all these ambitions. I want to be somebody. I want to be something special. And I'm not there yet. And it's very discouraging. It's very discouraging. It's frustrating. You have to understand that it's really frustrating. It's frustrating to be this person. I want to succeed. But it's just not happening. I started up these YouTube channels. And I'm asking people to subscribe to my channel that I know. And everything is so slow. And I am making these videos and I'm spending this money on this camera, on these cameras, on these microphones, on these things. I'm spending the money on this stuff. How do I even build a system to handle all of this stuff? I don't know. I don't know. There's so many books to read. How do I succeed at this? How do I make this really come true? How do I make this work? I don't know. And that's hard. That's really difficult. But what's even more difficult is to stay feeling discouraged. And I don't want to feel discouraged anymore. I get it. There were times where it didn't work out for me. And that's discouraging. But I choose to move on. There were many times when you were discouraged. When I was discouraged, there was many times. Many, many times. And this feeling of discouragement, like I want to get there so bad. I want to get there. And it's confusing to me because there's so many spiritual gurus that say, be non-attached. It only is going to happen when you're non-attached. But then if you're not attached, then doesn't that mean that you don't care? You have to not care about the outcome. But I do care about the outcome. The outcome matters to me. It matters to me. I have a family now. I have a daughter now. I have a second baby on the way. It matters to me. And I feel this discouragement. I've had many failures. And I don't feel like a success. I don't feel like I made it. I don't feel like I've arrived. I don't feel like I have finally arrived. So where do I go from here? What do I do? How do I fix this? How do I fix what's within me and feel like I am somebody? What do I do? But I can sit here talking about this all day. I can focus on the problem all day. Is that going to produce a solution for you though, Gabe? No, it's not. It's not going to help you. This is not going to help you at all. You know what is going to help you? By moving on from this. And man, I wanted to succeed so bad. And I remember those times where it just didn't work out. And it's now led to a lot of uncertainty. But this uncertainty, you can't have it with you anymore. You have to be certain now. You have to be certain now. You've been at this for too long. You have tried for too long. You have to keep going until you figure it out. And great for other people that figure out how to build a multi-million-dollar business in 3 months. Great for them. Great for people that figure out how to build income stream for $20,000 a month in 3 days. Great for them if that's the truth. If that's the truth, wonderful. Wonderful. Good job. I have seen, though, that it takes significantly longer. That's been my experience. That's been my life. That's been the story of my existence. And it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean that it has to take any longer. We'll get there. But I think now it's important to just let me go. If it's really true that certainty is going to be the thing that manifests success, then I'd rather you let me go now, Gabe. I'd rather you let me go. Set me free. Yeah, there was that time where you were swimming and you had no idea how to swim and you were discouraged. But then what? But then you figured it out. You had practice, you had help, you had support, right? There were times where you were discouraged with the entrepreneur stuff and then you'd figure out certain things and it would feel good. There were times where you were discouraged about YouTube and you have created channels before, But then what happened? That time in 2017 when you were going through your spiritual awakening, what happened? The channel grew. You didn't use a DJI Mic 3. You didn't use an Instalink 360 Link 2 webcam, 4K webcam. You used a cracked screen Motorola smartphone from 2017. The audio was fine. The video would skip, but you somehow did it with a smartphone. You know what that's like. You know that it can happen really fast. You just weren't prepared for it. Your nervous system just was not regulated for that. And that's okay. That's okay. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I think you're going to make it, Gabe. But not without me. But not with me. Let me go. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you to that part of me. Okay, now we're going to send this part back to God's light. But first, let's do a muscle test. Show me yes. Show me no. Show me true. Show me false. My name is Gabriel. My name is Hema. My name is Mama. My name is Soraya. My name is Gabriel. The emotional charge to the movie Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojciech, whatever his name is, has an emotional charge of 7. It has an emotional charge of 6. It has an emotional charge of 7 or less. It has an emotional charge of 7. It has an emotional charge of 6. It has an emotional charge of 5. It has an emotional charge of 4. It has an emotional charge of 3. It has an emotional charge of 2. It has an emotional charge of 1. On a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the highest, 0 being nothing at all, the movie Kimmel Hall and Sasha Wojciech has an emotional charge of 0. I feel discouraged. This discouraged part of me is ready to go back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. Okay, we're going to take out both hands. In one hand, we've got the discouraged part. In the other hand, we have God and God's light. I just want you to visualize now that discouraged part merging with God. Put the hands together. And breathe it in. Okay. Very good. All right, now let's do it. let's wrap this up and let's shift the energy and let's create a new positive statement here, something that we can anchor in. Starting with the karate chop point again. Even though I was feeling discouraged, I let that go from my nervous system now. Even though I lacked the confidence and I had uncertainty about my path in life, I believe I'm getting there. Even though I was feeling discouraged about the opportunities that I had and I felt like I blew it, I choose to have faith that my path is sacred and that the path that I'm on is leading me exactly where I need to be. You know, maybe I don't have to feel discouraged anymore. Maybe I can feel confident. Maybe I could feel encouraged. Maybe I can find reasons to feel encouraged. Maybe my perception can now reset and shift to feeling encouraged and not discouraged. I was feeling very discouraged. I was feeling discouraged about a couple of things. And I was feeling discouraged about even trading and whether or not I'd be able to return back to the trading operating system because of this traumatic event that I experienced a couple of months ago with my daughter being removed from our custody because we said no to a non-life-saving surgery. However, maybe I can just think to myself, I'm building a system for this brand. I'm getting myself organized. I'm getting myself really organized now. Maybe I can prove to myself that I can finish a system and I can get it running to where it is producing positive results. So far, the systems that I've built haven't been doing that, but hey, I went from just a little over a year ago not having any real systems. I mean, I had systems, but not like documented, not like strategic objectives and operating principles and playbooks and charters and working procedures to now I've got all of those things set up and I'm building all those things for each and every single system. And on top of that, I'm also building an AI layer for my entire life because I'm getting ready to have a fleet of AI work with me and do things for me online so that I don't have to. And that's pretty cool. And I like that. And I like knowing that, hey, just because I haven't seen it just yet, I haven't seen the automation happen just yet, doesn't mean it will not happen. I think I can get there. I think I can really get there and I can succeed with setting up automations. And then my next level, which is the self-iterating layer, that's exciting. Going to be able to self-iterate all of the things, all of the systems. They'll be functioning without me and they'll be moving without me. And that's exciting to think about. So here I am. It's the end of the year. And yeah, I was feeling discouraged about certain things. But now I could find reasons to feel encouragement. Hey, if I look back at some of the things that I've been doing, I know much more now than I did ever before. And yes, while it is tiring sometimes, I trust that, hey, this is my path. This is the path that I'm walking. This is the path that I'm on. And I'll get there. I choose to trust and have certainty that I will get there. I choose to remember that I'm going to get there. Maybe there's no need to feel discouraged. Maybe it's just, hey, look for signs of the early manifestation. And I can do that. Somehow, people are finding my YouTube channel. I'm getting views that I wasn't clicking on the videos. So, okay, no problem. And hey, look, while my subscriber count is 0 right now, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm rehabbing from an injury. That's it. My only intention that I was told that I received from my inner voice was document. Just document this. Just keep tapping and document it. And I can do that. I can do that. I can wake up at 4. I can document this thing. It's fucking easy. It's really easy. I can do that. And I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. And I'm going to make that my thing to figure it out, because I'm not going to live my life feeling discouraged. And I'm not going to tell my kids I'm not going to teach that to my kids. And I definitely don't want them to pick up that energy from me and have that be their story too. I want them to feel really encouraged about their life. And I refuse to be that person, that guy that, like The Pursuit of Happiness, where Chris Gardner, he tells his kid, don't expect yourself to be a basketball player because it didn't work out for me. And, you're not that tall and I'm not that tall. So, don't expect. I'm not going to be that guy. They're going to have to figure it out. I'm just going to tell them, hey, look, figure it out. It didn't work for me. Just figure it out for you. Figure out what was going to work for you. And I'm not going to be that fucking dream killer guy. And that's going to be the next thing that I tap on. Create a reminder.
What do you want to be reminded about?
EFT tapping topic : clear the dream killer part of me that is similar to Chris Gardner telling his kid, hey, you're not that tall, so I'm not that tall, so don't expect to be like a basketball player or whatever.
Okay, I added it.
I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that guy. And I choose to be encouraging. And I choose to be uplifting. And I choose to encourage myself. I choose to embrace and bring out this encouraging part of me now. Violet flame, violet flame, violet flame. Dissolve, consume, annihilate, obliterate, transform, and transmute. The discouraged part of me. Back to God's light for permanent and everlasting transmutation and transformation. Produce your perfection in, through, and around me. Anchor in divine encouragement into my reality, into my existence now. And in the name of God and my mighty I am presence that I am, my subconscious mind, my great divine spirit team, and the great white brotherhood of the highest vibrational frequency and consciousness, in your name, with your unconditional love and support, I command, declare, and decree that I am encouraging, that I am encouraged to succeed, that I have all of the reasons and all of the support and all of the love to succeed and to win and to spread that encouragement infectiously into the lives of my family and anyone else who sees my face. And I claim that now as a new part of me that gets awakened, that gets activated. I become that person now. I choose to become that person now, and I allow myself to become that person with great love. And I choose to be encouraging. And I choose to be encouraging, and I choose to remember that there are times where I was encouraging. And I do remember that there were times where I was encouraging. I did encourage Hema to pursue lifepurpose.com. I did encourage her to do certain things. I did encourage other people. And I've seen that other people that they seem to have been encouraged to change their life too, and they have been taking those steps. And I choose to be more encouraging. I choose to embrace that encouragement. I choose to feel what it feels like to feel encouraging. Feeling that encouragement, letting that sit into my body now, letting that really penetrate my nervous system, anchoring that truth as part of my new nervous system upgrade and regulation now. And even though I felt that discouragement, I choose to let that go from my nervous system and from my subconscious mind forever, for good, forever. Done. And I choose to move forward now. I choose to move forward feeling encouraged. And anytime that I do feel discouraged, what am I going to do? I'm going to just continue to tap on that feeling, and I'm going to really truly feel what it feels like to feel discouraged. And then I'm just going to release it, because I'm not going to be this person anymore. I'm not going to be this person, this version of myself anymore that was stuck. I'm not going to allow myself to live my life in such a way where I was stuck feeling discouraged, feeling not encouraged, feeling like it was hopeless. It's going to be a new year. It's going to be 2026 for me, and I cannot afford to be discouraged. I have to feel encouraged. I choose to feel encouraged. I choose to feel encouraged about my life. I choose to feel optimistic about where I'm going, and I choose to become the type of person right now, today, and claim that for myself, that my identity is wired in encouragement. I choose to become the type of person right now that is encouraging and is encouraged to fulfill their purpose in life. I am not allowing myself to feel discouraged about my purpose in life. I am allowing myself and claiming that I am now encouraged. I am encouraged. I am going to feel encouraged, and I'm going to find reasons to feel encouraged. Even though it may have been lonely to pursue entrepreneurship, solopreneurship, business, and not have it work out the way I wanted it to, I'm going to look for signs to feel good. I'm going to look for the signs and the clues in the outer world to say, hey, this is growing. Just wait. Just wait, because it's going to come. And with that, I really anchor in that feeling of encouragement. And I choose to feel encouraged. I choose to be more optimistic, and I choose to let that sit with me for now. And that's enough. And I let it be. And I move on with my day from that state of encouragement, feeling lighter, feeling a bit brighter. All that negativity, all that criticism, all those voices in my head of discouragement and doubt fading away, getting really silent. My transformation is happening. I'm transforming. And that's actually getting me pretty excited. And I'm feeling pretty good. I feel pretty encouraged now. I was feeling discouraged, but now I'm feeling really encouraged. Even though I was feeling discouraged before, now I'm feeling really encouraged. And I feel pretty good about that. And I'm going to continue to find reasons to feel encouraged. And I'm going to allow myself to feel good. I'm going to really find reasons to feel good and to feel encouraged about my life. And I'm just going to let that be. And I'm going to sit with that. And I thank you, God. Thank you for giving me the opportunities and the reasons and shifting my perception to feel maximum encouragement now. Take 3 deep breaths in. Exhale when I say. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive our debtors as we forgive our debts. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespassors. Forgive our trespassers as we forgive our trespasses. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you, God, for all the blessings, miracles, and gifts of this day. Thank you, God, for your unconditional love and support. Thank you, God, for your kindness. Thank you, God, for healing every heart and mind across the universe of all forms of discouragement. And thank you, God, for anchoring into the morphogenetic field and into every vessel your light of encouragement. Thank you for giving all of humanity, especially during this time where there is so much negativity and perceived darkness. Thank you, God, for raising us into that era of feeling encouraged, feeling optimistic. Thank you, God, for expanding our vessels so that we can hold infinite more amounts of your light in our physical bodies, in our hearts, in our minds. May we expand our consciousness. May we feel really, truly encouraged to fulfill our purpose. And may we find positive reasons to fulfill our purpose in life, individually and collectively, through pure, divine, loving, warm encouragement. And so it is, and so it was. Thank you. If you found today's live stream helpful, I invite you to come back again tomorrow, 4:32 a.m. Central European Time. And if you want to do your own EFT work on your own subjects, you can download this free GPT. I created a free EFT GPT that you can download. It's linked down in the description. All you have to do is just tell it your issues, and it'll help you. And it'll guide you through a similar EFT script that I went through today. And again, that's linked down in the description. And I wish you a good day. Remember always that we love you, you are loved, and God loves you. And until next time, namaste.